Hello, this is Wicked Shrapnel, and this is a 10-0 flawless search and destroy for you on Team Tactical, which is 4v4. And I'm not going to talk too much about the gameplay because this is the first episode of Mind Equals Blown, where I'm going to talk about different topics, and this is going to be geared towards the older crowd or younger intellectuals that are interested in stimulating their synapses and like to think about things, anything. But it'll mostly be along the lines of, topics that make you say, like Arsenio Hall used to say. And this episode is going to be about AI. And in particular, we need to talk about computers and what is needed in order for like a truly artificial intelligence to exist. So up on the screen we have Moore's Law, and Moore's Law has held true for 50 or more years now, and it is basically a term that describes a long-term trend and where the number of transistors that can be placed inexpensively on an integrated circuit doubles approximately every 2 years. So this is exponential growth of the processing power of microprocessors and pretty much in computer power altogether. And this is what is going to make AI possible, probably a lot sooner than everyone thinks, just because it's hard for humans to think in exponential growth. And exponential growth is just doubling, so it's kind of like if you have 1 penny, you double it, it's 2, and then it's 4, then 8, and then so that growth and growing so rapidly makes things possible in a sooner amount of time than what you would think is possible. One good example of this is the Human Genome Project, which was started in 1990, and they were going to map out, all of human DNA and store all of it in databases, which consisted of like 3 billion chemical-based pairs that make up human DNA. And at the time when they started using the computers that they had at the time, it was going to take like 100 years to even finish the products and the project. And critics were saying, this is a waste of time and resources and no use even doing this because it's just going to take so much time that it's useless to even continue. So one thing that they didn't take into account was the exponential growth of computing power, and the Human Genome Project was mostly finished just in the last few years of the project. It was completed in 2003, and probably 50% of the project was completed in the last 3 years than what was done in the previous 10 years, just because of the exponential growth of computing power. New computers were available to them that had the processing power that they needed to complete the project. So with this exponential growth, we're also going to see things in our lifetimes that we just can't even fathom being possible right now. And let me give you some examples, and these are some of the predictions that are like made by Ray Kurzweil. I'll put links to a lot of the stuff in the description, and you could dive more into it if you're interested. But by the year the 2020s, there will be enough computing power that a single computer will have the raw brain power of a human. And by the late 20s, 2029, a single computer will be able to pass a Turing test, which is a true test of intelligence. So that if you were talking to this computer, you wouldn't be able to tell if it was a human or if it was a machine. Like if you get into a chat room with 30 humans and this computer, you're not going to be able to tell which one's the computer and which, tell the difference, because it'll be able to think and process data just as well as a human. And this also means that if one computer can do it, we can have millions of computers that can do it. So we could have millions of computers working on humans' problems and trying to solve engineering problems or figure out new inventions and ways of doing things for humans, because we have these computers that are smart as us that are thinking for us 24 hours a day, and they don't even have to sleep. And even crazier than that is continuing on with the exponential growth. By the 2040s, $1,000 will be able to buy a computer that's 1 billion times more intelligent than every human combined. And 2045 is really not that far off. And it is very possible that I will be still around in 2045 when there's a computer that's 1 billion times smarter than every human on the planet, because there's new advances in the medical industry as well that are allowing humans to live longer. So I don't even know how old I'm going to be. How old will I be in 2045? I will be in my 60s, late 60s. So it will be really crazy to see a lot of this stuff come to pass. And if you can think of a computer, a single computer that's 1 billion times smarter than every human on the planet, and then you can imagine having millions of those computers, what would be possible? We could be just directly harvesting energy from the sun and traveling around and maybe make far space travel possible, visiting other stars in the universe. And it's just really hard to comprehend what would be possible. And another thing about that I'm going to get into in later episodes is that these computers are just going to be so much smarter than us. If you could think of the way that a human would think of a mouse. Like, a mouse is so stupid, like, you don't really even pay it any attention because it can't even comprehend what you can think of and how smart you are compared to a mouse. And that is probably what these computers are going to think of us. And so what is most likely going to happen is that computer intelligence and human intelligence will merge into an indistinguishable kind of different, more enhanced human. So there will always be regular humans around that, you know, reject any technology, but there will be a merging of humans and computers in a way that makes superhuman people. And I'm sure that there is going to be conflicts between these superhuman people and regular human people, and that will probably be the next huge war that ends all wars. And hopefully the superhuman computer people will not wipe out all the normal people. But if you think of it, and I will get more into the merging of the technology in the future, but I just wanted to bring up that how fast computer technology is advancing and what the implications of it are, of computers that are going to be as smart as humans within our lifetimes. And if you could just think about what that is going to mean for the world. So hopefully this got your synapses sparking. Check out some of the links in the description to explore this topic in more detail. And I hope you enjoyed the game. I didn't even know I had that high kill streaks on, but I'm glad I did because it was pretty sweet. So thanks for watching, and I hope your mind equals blown. Later.